probably seen us review it back in 2018 in Portugal. You've probably also know it as the 2019 World Car of the Year. But now it's finally here. Yes, the Jaguar I-Pace has landed in India and we have some time with it to give you a quick walk around. Now Jaguar will sell the car in 3 trim levels, the S, the SE and the HSE. And what we have here is the S trim. Now let me begin with the looks. If you like your SUVs tall and upright and very butch and macho, well then this car is likely to disappoint you. It's slower and very sensuous, but I think the crossover styling is done nicely with a good balance of sporty aggression and sensuousness. And to me, the best part is that it does not come off looking a little bit odd like some coupe SUVs do. And of course, it does have full bona fide SUV credentials. It's got adjustable ride height and it can give you up to 230 mm of ground clearance, and it has all-wheel drive capability with 2 motors, 1 on each axle. Now when it comes to style, of course there are typical Jaguar elements like the headlights over here and the grille, which all remind you and tell you that this is definitely and indeed a Jaguar. Interestingly though, the grille, well, you technically don't need one on an EV, but what it does here is it's an active grille, and so it can open and close and channel air in to cool the batteries. Also interestingly, very supercar-like, it's got a little slot here and that channels air into the bonnet and it comes out up here, adding to the aero and adding to the downforce. Now, in fact, Jaguar say they've done a lot of aero work around the car. It's really slippery with a coefficient of drag of 0.29. And Jaguar say that it's so slippery and so smooth that out at the back, they don't even need a rear wiper because they don't have the turbulent air messing up the rear windscreen. Now at the side is where you can really appreciate the I-Pace length. It's 4.6 meters in length, and the styling, this very horizontal lines all across, kind of exaggerates that length, giving it a nice, really long look. Over here, of course, you've got your charger or your charging socket. Now, the battery is a 90 kilowatt hour power cell, and Jaguar claim on the WLTP cycle, you get a 470 kilometer driving range. ARAI mileage, of course, isn't as yet known, but you would know that closer to launch. Now, the other bits around the side, of course, are these really cool pop-out handles, like so, and some really nice 19-inch alloy wheels. Now, as with a lot of things on the car, you can specify different options, and the wheels, well, you can have different alloys and different styles as well. Yes, now at the rear too, as you can see, it's got the typical Jag tail lights that look really nice and sleek and sporty. And also very sleek and sporty is this massively raked rear windscreen. The other bits on the rear are a diffuser. Now, yeah, it could have had a skid plate being an SUV, but Jaguar chose to go with a sporty diffuser. And the, well, yeah, there aren't any tailpipes. It will take a while getting used to that. So yeah, no tailpipes, just the diffuser at the rear. Now, space inside is pretty ample. As you can see, the way I'm sitting here, I'm about 5'8". I've adjusted the driver's seat to my position, and I've got ample of legroom here at the back. Also, what really adds to the sense of space is a very light and airy feel inside the cabin, and it's helped massively by this big sunroof up here. Interestingly, it does not have a sunscreen. But Jaguar says you don't have to worry about the heat and light, as the special construction keeps out infrared, UV and of course heat. We'll reserve judgment when it's up against our Indian summers though. Now in terms of features, you can spec a lot on your Jaguar. Now this is the entry S trim, but as you can see here, we've got rear climate control. It's in fact got a 4-zone climate control, which is an option that you can specify with even the base trim of the I-Pace. Other features, well, there's a lot of USB ports. There are 2 Type-Cs here. There are 2 regular USBs up here. You've got, of course, storage nets. And interestingly, under the seat here, you've got little magazine racks. Now from here, from the driver's seat, is where you can really appreciate the level of quality and the craftsmanship in the Jaguar, because there are a lot of elements, of course, and all of them are done really nicely and finished to a very high level of craftsmanship. So the leather, the dash and the seats are all excellent. The switches though aren't in the league of its German rivals and feel a notch down in terms of operation and finish. While Jaguar did launch the I-Pace before the PV Pro infotainment system debuted on the Jaguar fleet, this car has been updated, and the car we have in India will have the PV Pro unit, which means it's the new updated unit with all of the smart connectivity that you typically expect, and of course Android Auto and Apple CarPlay connectivity too. It consists of a 10-inch touchscreen here, as well as a smaller 5.5-inch unit. Now thankfully, they haven't relied only on this touchscreen unit. As you know, I tend to really dislike touchscreen units for HVAC controls. Jaguar haven't gone down that road and instead have really neat and easy to use dials for temperature control. Now in terms of storage, there is some pretty neat and handy storage around the cabin. You do have small little bottle holders in the doors here. The glove box down here is not too big, but just about okay. There's a nice little shelf underneath here though with wireless charging. And this center console box kind of makes up for the lack of, let's say, the door storage, which is quite deep and pretty handy, along with, of course, USB slots in there to charge your devices. Now, of course, drive propulsion comes from two motors, one on each axle, and together they put out 696 Newton meters of torque and 400 horsepower. There are, of course, drive modes that you can select from, the typical ones, of course, being Eco, Comfort and Dynamic. So that's how this India spec I-Pace stacks up. Now, Jaguar have launched the car at a starting price of 1.05 crore, and it's available at showrooms around you. Will we drive it? Well, yes, very soon. So stay tuned to our Autocar India YouTube channel, and of course, subscribe and hit the bell icon, and you'll be notified every time we post a new video.